Hi, I'd like to talk about the Ai1 acoustic DI with preamp. This little unit can be used by professional musicians or for home and private practice. Let's look at the primary input-output panel. This panel contains a standard 1/4 inch instrument input. This is where you plug in your instrument using a standard instrument cable. This input is designed for all passive and active type pickup signals. When a plug is inserted into this input, the Ai1 is switched on, so be sure to unplug from the instrument input when the Ai1 is not in use to conserve the battery life. We recommend you turn down your amp or mixer's input before plugging or unplugging from the input jack to help protect your sound system speakers from loud pops. A 1/8 inch or 3.5 millimeter headphone jack for plugging in a pair of stereo headphones for private practice. A DI out. This is a low impedance balanced output. Using a standard XLR cable, connect this output to a PA or recording console input. An output jack. This is an unbalanced output. Using a standard instrument cable, connect this output to a stage monitor, amp, or mixer. The level control on the Ai1 determines the volume of the signals heard through the headphones, DI out, and output jacks. Use a level control to set all Ai1 output levels to best match your sound system and give you the least amount of noise. Okay, now let's look at the control panel. The control panel has a power indicator. This green LED illuminates when the Ai1 is activated. The input gain is the first control you should adjust. The input gain sets the level of amplification applied to the input signal to boost it to a usable level. You'll want to use the highest input gain setting you can without overdriving or distorting the signal. If you are using a high output active pickup system, you will use a lower setting on the input gain. If you're using a passive type pickup system, you will need a higher setting on the input gain. For initial setup, we recommend setting all the controls to the midpoint or 12 o'clock setting with the shape off. This is a medium gain flat response setting. To adjust, slowly turn the input gain up or clockwise while playing your instrument until you begin to hear some distortion. Then back the input gain down or counterclockwise until this distortion disappears. This will give the Ai1 the most signal to work with and the best signal to noise ratio. Take note of this optimized setting for future reference. With some high output active pickup systems, you may need to lower the volume on your instrument if you hear some distortion at lower input gain settings. The level adjusts the amount of signal sent to all outputs. The DI out, output, headphone, and RCA line out. This is like the master volume on a guitar amplifier. The bass control adjusts the amount of cut or boost in the low frequency range, around 150 Hz. The treble adjusts the amount of cut or boost in the high frequency range, around 5,000 Hz. The shape switch gives you a quick way to notch the mids or make an overall adjustment for a guitar that has excessive mid-range. This gives a fuller sound with extended high end. The phase switch, if you experience positive acoustic feedback playing at louder volumes, flip the phase switch to the alternate setting to kill the feedback. We included a ground lift on this unit to eliminate any ground loop problems. Ground loops are caused when two pieces of AC powered gear share a ground connection. If you have two pieces of AC powered gear plugged into the Ai1, there's a potential for hum or ground loops. A good example is this. You have the Ai1 plugged into a mixing console using the DI out, and you also have the Ai1 plugged into an amplifier using the output jack. Both the mixing console and amplifier are plugged into an AC wall outlet. By switching on the ground lift, you eliminate any unwanted hum caused by this situation. Let's look at the auxiliary stereo RCA and power supply panel. This panel contains The RCA stereo line in. This is an input for a CD, tape player, MP3 player, or other equipment with RCA type connectors. This signal is heard through all outputs, the output, the DI out, the line out, and the headphones. This feature is great for the solo artist to play backing tracks during a gig or practice. You can also use this feature to play along with your favorite songs through the headphones. Volume level of the inputs connected through the RCA line in must be controlled at the source. The level control does not affect the RCA line in volume. The RCA stereo line out. This can be used to patch your acoustic instrument into any audio equipment that uses RCA type inputs, like your home theater or stereo system, to allow you to play your instrument without an expensive amplifier. With the stereo line out feature, you can connect to any sound equipment that uses RCA type inputs. 9-volt DC input. Plug a standard Boss type 9-volt DC adapter in here. Plug must be a 2.1 mm barrel type with center negative polarity. The battery may be left in or taken out when using an adapter. To install or replace the 9-volt battery, simply open the easy access battery door located on the bottom of the unit. Always remember to unplug your guitar cords from the Ai1 to conserve battery life.